Hello and welcome to Cool Trip Walks. Today we are going to be hiking the Carolina Thread Trail, or it's also known as the South Fork Trail. And what you have here in front of you is the South Fork River, or the South Fork of the Catawba River. I apologize for the road noise, but this does start right next to a major highway here on 85. So I am going to pause and relocate a little bit further away. And I'll explain more about why we chose to come here today. Well, I was trying to relocate around somebody doing some trimming here, but they're moving on down the path, so I'm going to just keep on walking until we get past them. And this is cool. We got a little bit of a bamboo grove here. But I'll tell you why I chose the South Fork Trail today as soon as we get to a less noisy place. I'll try to tune it down and post. That's 85 above us. All right, we're getting a little bit better now. I knew that there would be road noise, but I didn't realize that there would be also the trimming. So apologies about the rough start here. So we are hiking the South Fork Trail, and today we're filming in McAdenville, North Carolina, and it is early September. It is 69 degrees Fahrenheit and 22 degrees Celsius, and it's early September. So McAdenville is kind of well known in the area of Charlotte. It has a fantastic Christmas lighting display, and people from near and far come to drive through the town of McAdenville for the Christmas lights. Obviously in September, they're not ready for that. And it's something that, even though I've been here for 20 years, I have not done. Just as you can tell from the road noise of 85, traffic can be quite robust here. I just didn't really feel like, I haven't felt like going to deal with the holiday traffic, if that would be at McAdenville. It just doesn't put me in a very holiday mood. So we are here today on the South Fork Trail. And as I said, this is the South Fork of the Catawba River. But the signage on the way in said South Fork River. So a couple names. And I chose this because there's an interesting story. And I really hope that, unlike the last hike I did where I was kind of drawn in by a waterfall that wasn't, I hope that this shows up. So the South Fork River here, oh, there's a nice little stream. Is or was home to a number of mills back in the 1800s. And one of those, during the Civil War, produced fabrics and uniforms for the Confederate Army. Knowing the value of that to the Confederate Army, the Union dispatched a squad or a number of soldiers to come and burn down the mill. And it turns out that the mill owner was originally from Pennsylvania, and the commander of the Union troops was also from Pennsylvania, and they knew each other. And after much pleading and negotiation, he convinced the commander to not burn down his mill, but burn down a bridge across the South Fork River instead, which the Union troops subsequently did. So we are going to be looking for the ruins of that bridge, and they are supposed to be on this trail. I've seen the picture. That doesn't mean that it's going to be that impressive. I went to a park with the premise of looking for a waterfall that turned out, and I'm being very generous by calling it a waterfall. It was more of a trickle by the time we got there, so we missed out on that. But I think this will be visible when we get to the proper place on the river. And this is an out and back hike, but I'm forgetting myself. Let me introduce the channel. For those of you who are new to our channel, my name is Tom. I am your host, your presenter today, and Cool Trip Walks is a virtual walking channel that provides scenery for treadmill walks for those that want to use it, or potentially for travel research. So if you have any designs on coming to the Charlotte area of North Carolina for this series of videos, then hopefully we provide you some more information about some of the nature we have around us. We've also traveled to Italy, and we have some plans to go north of the border to Canada this winter. So we'll continue to add more videos outside of North Carolina as we can. But in the meantime, there's so much about this state that I adopted 20 years ago that I haven't seen, that I'm just trying to explore it as best I can. And here's an old, probably still used, because it looks pretty good, railroad bridge across the river. And we have some really pretty, I guess it would be thistle, which is also the Scottish national flower, I believe. That's pretty. So getting back to the channel, if a narrated walk is not your speed, please, by all means, just soak in the scenery, queue up your playlist, and enjoy. And if you want a narrated walk as we try to find cool things along the way, make this little trip cool, then I'm happy to have you here. Now this trail is public and private, but apparently they probably have the permission to have people cross the private land. I'll post the sign that I encountered at the parking lot when we get the film done, and post it in a social post on YouTube on the channel. And the river is looking nice and calm today. fun looking tree or plant. The parking was at the Catawba River building, and they're an organization that is a nonprofit and monitors the health of the Catawba River, which is a very big river. Starts in the mountains of North Carolina and goes south of the border through South Carolina and onward to Georgia. And there are multiple man-made lakes on the Catawba, the biggest being Lake Norman, which are used for power generation. And I'm just going to make sure my lens is on here right. Sorry about that. What a beautiful day. I was really fighting myself to get out today. But when you have a break in the schedule and you have perfect, almost autumn weather, and you gotta get out and enjoy it. Look at these skies. This is the Carolina blue skies that we get spoiled with here. All right, got the map activated. Make sure I don't get mislocated along the way. So I have, as hopefully subscribers have seen, a very good talent at getting mislocated along the way. A nice cool bridge here. A little bit of a creek running through. Oops. And right there, that's more waterfall than we saw at the last park. Do need to be careful here. Can be all kinds of reptilians, aka snakes, about that I don't want to meet. That's a nice, tranquil little creek. We saw one of these on a recent hike. These red flowers. Probably a weed, but they do look pretty. If anybody knows what they are, by all means, please put it in the discussion below. Always love getting feedback on the channel. And if you're new, please hit that like and subscribe button. We are growing slowly, but we love the feedback and it gives us fuel to keep going. So please, if you like what we're putting out here on the channel, feel free to subscribe and we'll continue doing it. It's well marked here. Carolina Thread Trail. And I do hope the trail allows us to see the ruins of that bridge. Haven't seen anything yet, so hopefully it's further down. I'm not sure whatever happened to the mills either, so they may be here, they may not be. We'll find out. It's hard to see the river from the trail, on camera. You can see a little bit more in the gaps with your eyes. But this trail is a very pretty trail. Now let's see if we can get a little closer. You can tell from the area around that the river does tend to flood here. The trail looks a little washed in some places. We've had a very unusual summer here in North Carolina where it was really dry, then we got a whole lot of rain, and now it's kind of dry again. And it's just kind of this on-off pattern we've had this year. Whereas I was just reading that it seems like the poor folks in northern Italy, which is where we traveled this year, getting a whole lot of rain. So it's been a little bit unrelenting for them. We caught a break in the weather as far as the rain was concerned. We did have a lot of cloudy days this year versus last year, but it didn't slow us down. Got a little rain in Tuscany, but we were prepared. We had our rain jackets and ready to go. And we have a fun little creek bed here. As you can see here, it's a little bit stagnant, so we haven't had any serious rain. Brief shower last week. And yes, we get to cross this bridge. Sorry for turning around, just want to get the other side as well. The trail gets a little closer to the river here. It's moving with a little speed at this point. You can hear it. Pardon this Velcro. Gotta move something so it doesn't sound on the soundtrack. And there's a squirrel. Let's see if we can get a view over here through the trees. Oh yeah, it's really moving here. And it would have been moving a whole lot faster back in the 1800s. The whole hydropower system and reservoirs for the nuclear reactor weren't in place. So the Catawba River would have been in its natural state. Definitely would have been more difficult to cross. Let's see if I can get a view of this. A couple turtles on the rocks out there, enjoying the morning sun. Some channels through the rock out there. Get a good view over here. It's hard with the growth. Get a good view on it. I'm gonna, pardon me while I zoom in. It's always been tricky. the map says anything about where, or if it's on the map for the bridge. No, it doesn't really say much about that. Yes. Now, if we can only get a view of it. I can see it peeking through the trees. Maybe up around the corner here. There it is. You see the bridge support. I'm going to zoom in again. Straight in front of us. And just behind it is another one. So this is where that old pre-Civil War bridge was. I'm going to zoom back out. And just look at the river here. Ooh, there's a really big bird out there. I think it's a heron. It's huge. I mean, it looks big from here. I'm going to try zooming in again. Sorry about that, everybody. I don't know if I can get it zoomed in enough for that. But that bird, straight out ahead, and it's got a really big body and crooked neck and long beak. So I don't know if it's a heron or a crane. But when it looks big from the distance we're at, it's got to be a big, big bird. Well, this is very cool. I could sit there all day, except I'm getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. So I think we're going to head on back and see what the path reveals in reverse. And it's funny because you wouldn't think just a change in perspective of direction would reveal much more than you saw on the way in. But on our walks, some of the best details you just don't notice because you're distracted by other things. Very easy to get distracted on these walks. And you can encounter some really cool finds. In one really long walk, I found a centuries-old oak tree, which was so impressive. I've never seen anything so big on the East Coast of the U.S. Very miniature version of some of the sequoias you might find out west, but it was an oak tree, so it wasn't anywhere near the sequoias, but it was eerily reminiscent in the sense of how large the branches were. The branches themselves were almost the size of trees. So when you encounter a living specimen like that, it's just impressive. Some nice yellow wildflowers out today. Oh, and the butterflies like them too. There's very large turtles on those rocks out there. There's no way this camera would zoom in on them, so I'm not going to try. But there are some happy big turtles out there. Probably called the river home for a very long time to get that large. Let's hope that means it's really healthy. And I was just reading an article this morning that was fitness oriented, and it was talking about the benefits of walking and how just even walking with a weighted pack or rucking can just give you so many exercise benefits. So you don't have to do anything fancy. You don't have to, go to the expensive gyms. If you have a good place to walk and you feel like having a little bit of weight on to build up strength in a lot of different ways, I guess the benefits are very, very pronounced, even more so than walking with like a weighted vest. And no one exercise is capable of providing total fitness, but it does go a long way. I know there's lots of studies about the benefits of swimming, the resistance of the water, and it's all about mixing it up, right? So good walks like we're doing today. I do some exercise biking or get on the electric bike when the weather is beautiful and try to get out with that. Oops. But it helps to dull hunger, build strength, helps your mental health. There's so many benefits to exercise, particularly walking. So I hope you find this channel and our videos useful. Now I do try to target a certain time range for our videos. Typically what I like to do for a walking workout. We can go longer. I'd rather have feedback from our viewers before we do longer videos. I think 30 to 45 minutes is usually spot on. We have one really long video that went well beyond my expectations in editing, and I felt like it was still pretty, so I sped it up a lot just to get it to reduce the time on the latter half. But I don't really like to do those sorts of tricks in editing. I like to do one take episodes if I can. Some things like traffic noise or things like that you can't totally plan for, but I think simple's best. But if you have any suggestions for improvement, always willing to consider it, and or just some well wishes. We'd love to return the favor. The greens are so amazing today. Trying to get out a little bit more and record in this time period because, one, for North Carolina, the temperature is much cooler, and two, as we get into the winter, late autumn months, walks become a little visually, in some ways, less interesting. I mean, autumn and winter walks have their own character, but I'd like to carry it forward a little bit. Give a little taste of late summer when we have the gray autumn winter blues. Well, I think we're getting close to our friend that has the weed trimmer. So rather than subject you to a second round of the noise of that in the highway, I'm going to end our episode here. But as always, hope that you had an excellent workout today and accomplished your goals. Please visit us again. We're going to have a lot more videos coming up, and wish you a wonderful day as always. Take care.